Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Todd Duffy to defeat Frank Mir. And as you see here behind me, it didn't really pan out. Now, did it? Anyway, I'm here to talk about Victoria Dudakova versus Sam Hughes. But before I get going on the breakdown, I just want to say I'd rather do one video for the main card and one video for the prelims. But it takes me a while to break down these fights, and sometimes I'm sitting on breakdowns for a few days just because of my schedule. So I figured I'd get my thoughts out here early on the fights I've broken down thoroughly before having to make a video where I'm sitting there like a jerk off again saying, I played him at minus 210, but now he's at minus 235. But I still think it's good. I'd rather just get my fucking thoughts out here now. So this is Sam Hughes versus Victoria Dudakova. Mod on, Victoria Dudakova. Okay, first let me start off by saying that I love Victoria Dudakova. I love her. There's nothing I can do about it. But I am going to betray her here, and I'm picking Sam Hughes to win this fight. It's not my most confident pick, but I do think Sam Hughes has precisely the kind of traits that could exploit the potential weaknesses of Victoria Dudakova because she's undefeated. Again, I see what everybody else sees, which is why I love her. But she's 8-0, and she's answered every question she's had to answer so far. The basis for the pick is that I think Dudakova is a little too easy to take down or maybe willing to be taken down. And once on the ground, she's definitely too willing to play the guard game. And I think Sam can use that against her, as can most of the UFC fighters, but especially Sam can use that to score valuable top control time. And if she's able to do that in the first two rounds, like Jin Frey did, or Maria Silva, the difference is I don't think Sam Hughes will let her back into the fight in round three. Of course, I could be wrong. Again, Victoria's only been in that spot a few times against her best opposition as well, and she has answered the call and reclaimed control of the fight. So there's not a lot of reason to doubt her. It's just Sam Hughes has traits that I really trust in. And that's why I had bet on Sam Hughes, because she's a considerable underdog. But I will be looking to place most of my Sam Hughes bets on her props, which are decision and a sprinkle on round three finish, of course. Maybe two sprinkles. I don't know. But Sam Hughes is a very strong round three fighter. She's shown that in every one of her victories in the UFC and just about every one of her losses as well. She's got excellent cardio. And I don't really count on the finish. I just think if there's a gaping hole in her opponent's overall game, Sam Hughes is able to capitalize on it. She could outwork her to a finish, but it's not like Sam is so dangerous and physically imposing. She's just a real grinder. She's the female Darren Elkins, and I say that with a lot of respect. Darren Elkins is my favorite fighter with Jim Miller, but Sam Hughes, she's 8-6. It's not like she hasn't been beaten before. And as quick as I am to talk about her round three performances, she's only got 6 losses because she's lost a good amount of rounds 1 and 2. So it's not like I'm so confident in Sam Hughes to win this fight. But I do think Victoria Dudakova is having these tooth and nail battles. I think Sam Hughes can be a bigger threat on that same level or she's a level above Jin Frey. If she can fight that same type of fight, she can do so at a higher level and bring more to the table and not let her back in round 3. So that's the basis for the pick. I should take a moment here to address the losses of Sam Hughes. She has been finished twice, really only once truly. Her UFC debut was a TKO loss when she got punched in the eye by Tisha Torres. That's a loss in which it wasn't a great first impression, and especially because Daniel Cormier was kind of implying that she quit. But I know she had a bad eye situation there, and after having seen her fight so many times afterwards, I can say that was an example of a misleading first impression. Kind of like Yoon Dong Sik over in Pride FC. But Sam Hughes is tough as all fuck, and unless she gets punched in the eyeball again, I don't think she's going to be quitting anything. And her one legit finish loss, and I say legitimate because it's not going to be some whatever injury that's occurring with it, she got uh, put in an inverted triangle choke from Vanessa Demopoulos. That's more of a threat in this type of matchup, I would think. Not so much the inverted triangle. I would see it being Victoria getting a submission, maybe an armbar from the guard if it works for her, or more likely her winning the wrestling battle and working something there in Sam Hughes. But Sam Hughes has been submitted. It is to a UFC fighter in Vanessa Demopoulos. They were both in Invicta before they made it to the UFC. And that was also in round 4, which, needless to say, there's no round 4 in this fight. But just know that I know it happened. And as for Sam Hughes' decision losses, again, they've all been close enough battles. Loma Lupumbe, Luana Pinheiro, Pierre Rodriguez, and Sam Hughes has looked very tough in all of them and very competitive in round 3. But Dudakova, I have seen her one amateur loss, which is also part of the reasoning. That was, 5 years ago or so, let's say. But she lost to this girl who's a giraffe. She was like 6 inches taller than Dudakova. She's gigantic, and Dudakova wasn't able to bully her and out-grapple her. But she tried to from her back, conceding top position and framing arm bars and stuff. And nothing really came too close. And in the end, I think they stopped counting on the judges' scorecards, and she lost the decision. Of course, look, in the Jin Frey fight, she was framing arm bars from the back and whatever, and she did eventually scare Jin Frey off of her, but it was too little too late. She'd lost the round. And you know what? That might have just been Jin Frey saying, hey, I've won round 2. If I let her up here and don't get knocked down, I'm going to win round 2. So I don't really know about that. But she also had that same trouble again with Maria Silva getting taken down. Maria actually briefly advanced a mount on her and then took her down again at the end of the same round, I believe, round 2. And that's an example of Victoria Dudakova's takedown defense failing her. Sometimes she gets sloppy, got a kick caught, or there's some collision. But a lot of times she'll go for shit. Like she tried to go with the scissor takedown or something and ended up getting grounded by Maria, who put a stamp on round 2 there. She's been taken down in plenty of her other fights there, or a few of them anyway. This girl, Marina Shintova, I believe, got her down a few times in round 1. But Dudakova didn't play too much guard game there. She was able to get up at least the first time and eventually turn the fight around and choked her out in round 2. And she didn't really have to turn the fight around. I thought she was doing well, but she didn't let herself get grounded too much. I should mention I've seen Dudakova win by round 3 finish in her debut, but that was a fight where she was largely dominant. It wasn't one of those Jin Frey type of fights. She's really solid, well-rounded. I think she's better technically than Sam Hughes, probably everywhere. Really nifty submission artist, and she's got good takedowns herself. I just think she's a little too takedownable, a little too accepting of bottom position, and having these closer battles with her best opposition leads me to think Sam Hughes can duplicate that success of these recent opponents, but give her a much stiffer test in round 3 when Dudakova goes to reclaim control of the fight. So the pick is Sam Hughes. I've got her winning by decision. That will be the bet as well, even though I bet on the money line because it's the only thing available. But decision is really where it's at for me. And of course, I'll throw a sprinkle on finish. If Dudakova was to win, she hasn't, she's gotten a lot of finishes, but I would still say decision is her most likely course against Sam Hughes. But she's a decent favorite here. I don't know what the odds will look like. I doubt I'll play anything on the other side. Just taking a small stab on Sam Hughes, a few small stabs, and hoping her traits carry her to a victory. Although if I'm wrong, of course, love wins. So there's always that. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.